Hi, everyone. Welcome to this healing energy treatment. My name is Jim Lal-Tabak. I'm a yoga teacher, energy healer, and health and wellness consultant coach. Um, Today, I wanted to talk about healing uh, through forgiveness. And if you saw my topic, I don't know if I mentioned forgiveness, but I want to talk about how it works and what's going on. Why should that make any difference? um, and the first a first conscious idea that one needs to have for all this to make sense is that um, everything is interconnected. Everything influences everything else. It's sort of like this big dynamic system. um, if you could shrink it down into the ocean and know that, or even like a lake here in the Midwest, the history is the mill. There were big mills, lots of lumber mills on the lake, and they were cutting down all the trees and putting them on barges and sending them out. And they thought they could just dump all that sawdust in the lake and it wouldn't affect anything because the lake was so big. Lo and behold, most of the indigenous fish uh, that were there died from that. And it's like that in our greater world. You think, oh, the universe is, it's so vast, but everything impacts everything else. And then the other idea is that well, there appears to be direct causation for some things, like, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, those kind of science ideas. However, that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you do something and it affects something else somewhere else. So we're not living necessarily, this is more of a quantum field idea that there are implications to whatever we do um, in a larger system. Um, so I just wanted, I wanted to start there, and then I wanted to also then talk about this is an interesting quote. Um, Resentment is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die from it. And so the whole point about healing is we have to address all the different stressors. Stress has become one of the main influences on people having health related, physical health related issues, but it could be mental health, it could be, spiritual. Stress does impact all kinds of things. And when we carry resentments, we, even if we're not thinking about it at the moment, where there's this low level grind of stressing our mind, body, spirit system. So that said, this is the reason why it's so important um, to think about um, anger and resentment, and in the bottom line, forgiveness. So I also found this little quote on the somewhere in the internet when I was perusing. Forgiveness means letting go of hard feelings like anger or sadness when someone else does, quote unquote, for me, something wrong, or we feel wronged by it. It doesn't mean that what the person did isn't wrong anymore. It means that you find it in your heart to give the person another chance. It isn't good to hang on to feelings of anger and sadness. Forgiveness is healthy. And and that also brought me to this idea of, well, the idea that, well, what's in the past, I can't change that. right? That's a mindset that, well, we can't change what happened, but we can change how we process it. So, and that, so in a way, we are reassessing, we're changing the way what that past is influencing today. So, sometimes it's easy to, I'm not espousing like this magical thinking, um, but I am going to talk about one thing that I've been thinking about a lot is the Hawaiian Ho'oponopono prayer, which brings up four issues. I mean, on a simple level, it's I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And so I started to think about, well, what does that mean? Um, and and so I'm sorry means that you feel bad about something that you were a participant in. It doesn't mean you condone it, that and maybe especially if you're young, you were a child, you didn't have a choice. However, you were there. I'm sorry, but still, I'm sorry that it happened. And and it's important to, in any way you can, take responsibility, just so that this is about your internal change, changing inside yourself, not about um, about what they did, or it's not about that. It's how you felt what happened, and what can you do today differently. So that's the first, when you say I'm sorry, and then the second one is please forgive me. So there's the forgiveness element. The forgiveness element is about letting go and releasing. So you could be saying this, please forgive me, not to that individual, not to that event, even to yourself, that you forgive yourself. You might even have to forgive yourself for holding on to this resentment for so long. But at any rate, we stop beating up on ourselves. So this is about getting rid of those stressors, getting rid of those things we hold on to that don't help us anymore. It obviously, there's some things we need to protect ourselves. That's fine. But protection is one thing, but holding on to grudges or anger, all those things just dig into the fabric of our being, and um, and they make life um, more difficult. And then giving love. So learning, I love you. I love you is, again, it's not specifically to that individual. It's learning how to express love, to share love in the field. And I'm going to I'm going to keep addressing the field because it's not cause and effect. We open up and then we express love, and you know what? People respond to that. But if we're walking around with a little, you know, fear and anger, grudge, they're going to feel that too. So we want to forgive ourselves and anyone else, that so we're not carrying that poison with us anymore. It's so helpful. And it doesn't mean you have to change any behavior to a person who you feel is, has and may still be of inappropriate or whatever you want to call it. And then the last is feeling grateful, gratitude, like thank you, thank you, thank you, universe, for my life. And so that field, we want to be able to, and it's like love. We want to be able to be thankful and grateful for all the lessons, all the experiences, everything that comes our way. And and that's going to then serve our, it'll set a stage for on that mind body, which really, let me see something. I'm sorry. That mind body system that we live in, mind body spirit, and we want to be able to uh, screen out what we can, right? So, there are always going to be something, there's always something that comes our way and that will, um, it's just life, right? Something happens and, you know, you you have a challenge. And so, and that's really part of what life is about, I have to say, at least for me. So anyway, I want to work on releasing energetically some of this anger, this resentment, and then um, enhance love and gratitude. So that'll happen. We're gonna work on that silently. I'm gonna work on it, supporting you in it. If you want to work on a specific issue or individual or the world at large, the universe, the country, the leader, all those things, anything that you feel like distracts you from your spiritual life mission, whatever you want to call it, um, then bring it into the field and see if we'll work on clearing some of those ties that we sort of feel like, oh, I have to protect myself. I'm going to correct that right now because that's a big one. If I forgive someone, then I can't protect myself anymore. That they're going to bowl me over. And so that's just a belief system that I think doesn't serve. Um, the thing is, we want to have the agency, the power, personal power to protect ourselves, period. And that doesn't mean we don't have to worry that it's going to happen every time because things don't, right? I think it's 85% never happens that things that you might think that are dangerous and you worry about, and it just doesn't happen. So it's probably even a higher percentage because, depending on the person. Anyway, let's get to the work. Just relax, ground yourself. Start by breathing nice and easy. We'll go through your feelings, sensations, noticing how your body's feeling, if there's pain in the body. Just gently noticing your smell, your taste. That means just be aware of your breathing through your nose, your tongue, hearing sounds, light. If your eyes are closed, which is, of course, just fine, just notice the inner light that comes because your optic nerve, your body does create light inside as well. So just noticing all that. So we go sound, taste, touch. So the body's inner sensations and the skin on the outside. And it's interestingly been learning about fascia too. And fascia is, and this has to do with cellular memory, but fascia has memory, and it's kind of like what wraps all and holds us all together in our body. So all the organs, everything is held together, and they used to just discount it, but now they found that fascia actually communicates throughout the body. That's why you can have pain in different spots, and that it's called referred pain, you know. Anyway, needless to say, clearing some of those things, and then we'll get into um, ancestral traumas, past life traumas, cellular, so physical, emotional traumas, mental. So I'm just clearing all these things that perhaps have come our way. And when we connect that trauma with a specific individual or event time, we crystallize it a little bit. We make it more physical. And so it's not as easy to let it go because we've made it in our mind. And, for some reasons, there's good reasons to, learn about where it's not safe to walk, and when you're walking in the forest, or, in a dangerous area and so forth, or dangerous person, right? But as soon as we make that connection, then we've really crystallized it in a sense, or manifested it as a physical thing. So we want to let's see if we can soften that a little bit, let it go a little bit. So a lot of times anger comes somewhere down in the lower chakras, the first, second chakras. We want to just see if we can free up that energy area so that things don't have to be so solid. And I'm going to clear it. What comes up is scarring. Scarring is, we know what that is on a physical level, but it also, there's scarring in the brain. There's scarring, actually, emotional scars we talked about, that all these, that those traumas have left us, because it's how we carry things into the present. And they become, the more we think about things over and over, the more it becomes a physical manifestation. It's kind of like even with the creative model, you can create something from a thought if you are persistent enough. And it's the same with the more perhaps trauma-related issues. It can become manifest in physical form. So that's how, in some ways, this is key on how to let the body heal, and using intention, awareness, to allow things to just not attach, not get attached, and not let them attach to us. So, and when that attachment lets go, whether it be from a previous event or something that just recently happened, like if you got sick or something, how do you let it go? Well, well, let's see if we can just energetically support that, because some of this stuff is it has to do with relaxing and releasing all that, everything we were taught. We were, well, at least not everything we were taught, but the things that we were taught about that don't serve us. We're programmed from young age to whatever it is, the family, some of the family history. I'm going to clear that. Spend a few minutes in silence, breathing, and just noticing what's happening right now. So I want you to bring your attention to your heart center as we move up through the body. I cleared the solar plexus and now to the heart, because the heart has the capacity for that love to be transmitted, to be sent out. So that the unfortunate thing about some of those traumas, from whether it be ancestral or earlier in your life, is it blocks your abilities to send that love out, because we're caught in that idea that everything is cause and effect, instead of that everything is interconnected, and that we can express love somewhere else and then be safe with that. It's so easy to get caught up and believe that everything that we experience, it's related to that. I learned how to be safe by XYZ, right? And so I don't open myself up to possibilities. I mean, that happens. I don't know if that's too vague, but I'm not getting specific right now. At any rate, so we're working on the heart. And this is a good time, the heart and the throat. So colors green and blue, because, well, a lot of times our communications can be blocked from some of those fears or that anger. And perhaps, I don't know if it's true, but this gratitude, maybe it could be related to the upper chakras, 6 and 7. I don't know, but I'm just going up the ladder here. So we're going to work on that, see if that can break some of the final barriers to forgiveness and release, and being grateful and thankful. And again, it's not connected directly to the event. The event or the individual is not off the hook, and we're not saying it didn't happen, none of that stuff. It's more about where do I want to look to the future and to the present? Where do I want to keep my consciousness, my present awareness in a place of gratitude and love, or resentment and anger? And so this is a choice we can practice. This is why I'm bringing this up, because that, people wonder, well, why is everything staying the same? Well, we have to change. We have to make choices on where we put our energy, who we want to be around, and all those things. Lots of changes and options can occur. And once that happens, it supports our physical representation here, so to speak, right? So we have, that is the power of all of this, is that we can, and this is not just about, being happy, because that's gonna, we're going to run through this cycle, kind of up the ladder from the base of the spine through the crown, through that chakra system over and over, and working from, at least the step beyond the trauma is the feeling of, remorse, or being and taking responsibility for whatever the part you can. So that's the bottom line in this. Okay, so let's just clear all that. All right, so bring your hands in front of the heart. Let's rub the hands together, create a little friction, warmth. Pretty easy to do that today if you're in the Midwest, right? Get some circulation, and then just gently pulsing the hands, breathing nice and easy. Pulse the hands, and then we're going to expand them. Like we're playing like a big energy sphere. We're just letting it expand out. And bring it back in, breathing nice and easy. Now we're going to inhale. And again, the ball can be in your hands, but it can be wrapped around your arms like a huge, sphere of energy and light, golden light. And then we draw it down, exhale, draw it down to the heart. Focus the hands inward as they transmit into your body that wonderful healing energy. Some people, this is their meditation for quite a while. They'll bring that energy in and then send it out too. So this is not, we're out into the universe. So it doesn't have to do with specific individuals necessarily. It can, of course, can direct your consciousness that way, but let's just not hold on to it, right? So we bring it in one more time, inhale, and exhale, sending it out. Hands in front of the heart, expressing gratitude, experiencing the gratitude and the love that we can learn to share, especially when we're free from all that fear, anger, resentment. Great. Okay. Well, Now that we've solved the problems of the universe, let's get back to them. And and then we'll have another opportunity to let them go. That's what we're doing. We're experiencing something and then we're releasing it. And it's just like a breath, our breath. We can't just bring the air in and hold it. We bring it in, we let it go. The waves come in, the waves go out. You know, all these natural experiences are part of what it means to be in this physical reality right now. And there's a reflection into the other non-physical worlds as well. They're interconnected, just as everything is. Okay. Well, anyway, great to see you all. Thank you for coming. Peace, namaste, and happy forgiving. It's not even Thanksgiving Day. It's forgiving. It's a forgiving week, a week of forgiving, and maybe a month or maybe a year of forgiving. Let's do it. Okay? Take care, everybody. Well, have a great time this week.